Maya nodded. That's right. My team is listening in, and I imagine they're very interested in how this plays out. Daniels took a small step back. His confidence wavered, his eyes darting toward his patrol car. Maya saw it, the moment he realized he was trapped. Daniels swallowed hard. His once smug expression twisted into something uncertain, almost panicked. His gaze flickered to Maya's phone, the small red recording light blinking like a warning sign. His confidence wavered, his posture stiff with tension. I was just doing my job, he muttered, his voice lacking the authority it carried just moments ago. Maya shook her head, her expression firm. No, you were abusing your badge. Daniels clenched his jaw. His fingers twitched at his side, curling into fists before relaxing again. He looked around, as if searching for an escape. Another officer, someone to back him up. But it was just them. The road stretched behind them, empty except for a few cars passing in the distance. Maya could almost hear the battle inside his head. Should he push his luck, or should he back down? She lowered her phone slightly, keeping it steady. Now, Officer Daniels, I have a question for you. He didn't respond at first, his nostrils flaring. Then in a strained voice, he muttered, What? Maya's voice remained calm, unwavering. Do you really want this to be your legacy? She let the question hang in the air. Do you really want to be the next viral cop who lost his job for harassing an innocent black woman? Daniel's throat bobbed as he swallowed. He opened his mouth to argue but hesitated. The weight of the moment pressed down on him. Maya didn't let up. Because right now, I have everything I need to file a formal complaint. Not just against you, but against your entire department. And trust me, Officer Daniels, I know exactly how to make sure that complaint doesn't just get lost in the system. His Adam's apple bobbed again. The color in his face, which had been flushed with authority just minutes ago, drained into something closer to dread. She continued, her voice steady. You can either keep pushing this, let the world see exactly who you are, or you can walk away. Right now. Daniel's eyes darted toward his patrol car again. His fingers twitched. He was weighing his options, fighting an internal war between his pride and the harsh reality of what was unfolding. For a moment, Maya thought he might double down, that his ego wouldn't let him back down. But then, in a slow, grudging motion, he took a step back. His feet shuffled against the pavement, the sound barely audible over the low hum of the passing cars. You're free to go, he muttered. Maya didn't move. She didn't flinch. I need to hear you say it properly, she said firmly. Say it so the camera hears it. Daniel's jaw clenched so tightly she thought he might crack a tooth. His lips barely moved as he forced the words out. You're free to go. Maya exhaled slowly, but not out of relief. Out of control. Because for once, she was in control of the situation. She reached out, took her license and registration back from his trembling fingers, and tucked them neatly into her wallet. Then she looked him dead in the eye. Next time, Officer Daniels, she said smoothly, make sure you know who you're dealing with. Daniels didn't respond. He couldn't. His eyes burned with frustration, but there was nothing he could do. Not now, not without consequences. Maya rolled up her window, placed her phone in the passenger seat, and gripped the steering wheel. Then, with deliberate ease, she put her car in drive and pulled away. In her rearview mirror, she saw him still standing there, stiff, his hands on his hips, his face unreadable. She didn't celebrate, she didn't cheer. But as she merged onto the highway, a sense of justice settled deep in her chest. For so many black men and women who had been pulled over, harassed and humiliated without a way to fight back, this moment was for them. Because for once, just once, a racist cop had been forced to face the consequences of his own game, and this time he lost. It was a quiet afternoon when Maya Carter, a civil rights attorney, drove through a small town on her way home from a legal conference. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the highway. She wasn't speeding, she wasn't swerving, she wasn't doing anything wrong. Yet the moment she passed a police cruiser parked on the side of the road, she saw it. The headlights flashed on. The car pulled out. The sirens wailed. Maya sighed. Here we go again. She signaled, pulled over, and rolled down her window, keeping both hands on the wheel. She had dealt with too many cases where innocent black drivers were harassed, or worse, by officers with too much power and too little accountability. The officer approached, a tall, broad-shouldered white man with sharp eyes and a stiff posture. His name tag read, Officer Daniels. "License and registration," he barked without so much as a greeting. Maya met his gaze, calm but firm. "Sure, officer. May I ask why I was pulled over?" Daniels scoffed. "License and registration now." Maya bit back her frustration. She moved slowly, reaching into her glove compartment for the documents. She handed them over, watching as he took them with a smug look. "You were going 10 over, ma'am," he said, flipping through her papers. Maya raised an eyebrow. "I'm pretty sure I was within the limit." Daniels smirked. "You sure about that?" He leaned in slightly. "You people never know how to follow the rules." There it was. Maya felt the familiar sting of anger rise in her chest, but she kept her face neutral. She knew better than to let her emotions show. "Is that so?" she asked, tilting her head. Daniels chuckled. "Yeah, I see it all the time. Fancy cars, nice clothes, but no respect for the law. Makes me wonder how someone like you even got a car like this." He tapped the roof of her sleek black Mercedes. Maya took a deep breath. "Are you accusing me of something, officer?" Daniel's grin widened. "Not yet, but I think we'll have to do a little search. You don't mind, do you?" Maya's stomach tightened. She knew his type. He wanted to intimidate her. He wanted her to feel small, but what he didn't know was that he had just picked the wrong woman to mess with. Maya kept her voice steady. "Are you asking for my consent, officer, or are you saying you have probable cause?" Daniels folded his arms. "You looked nervous when I pulled you over. That's suspicious enough for me." Maya smiled, just a little. "Gotcha." "Actually, Officer Daniels," she said, leaning slightly out of the window, "that's not how the law works. And if you search my vehicle without probable cause, that's called an illegal search and seizure." Daniels' smirk faltered. "You think you know the law better than me?" Maya's smile didn't fade. "I know I do. I'm a civil rights attorney, and I specialize in cases just like this." Silence. Daniel's jaw tightened. He looked at her registration again, maybe realizing her name sounded familiar. Maybe realizing that she was not the helpless black woman he thought he was dealing with. But Maya wasn't done. She reached for her phone, which had been recording the entire time. She held it up, making sure he saw the little red light blinking. "I've been recording this conversation," she said calmly, "including the part where you racially profiled me, admitted to stopping me without cause, and suggested an illegal search." Daniel's face turned red. "Turn that off." "No," Maya said, her voice steady. "And I should also mention that I have a live feed going straight to my law office." Daniel's eyes widened. "You... what?"